As you may know out there, I am a huge fan of the songwriter, the person who creates something beautiful out of thin air. How it comes here, how it gets to them, how they form that feeling from the air into something that we can all enjoy. And the second half of that word is joy. And we talk about joy a lot today with an incredible songwriter. Drew Kennedy is on the Boston Chris podcast for the first time ever. And I can't begin to tell you how absolutely honored I am that Drew chose to spend some time with me here today. I'm a little over an hour talking about the absolute best in Drew Kennedy. Everything he is about, from the baseball and loving sports as a kid to how songwriting found him. That's right. You guys will want to tune in for the entire conversation because this is one for the ages.
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hey, this is Chris Pierce. Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Guys, it's 2025, and I've been a fan of this guy since at least 2010. And man, I'll tell you what, I started podcasting in 2016, took a break in 2018-ish, and until last year. And between 2018 and 2024, I compiled this list of people that I was gonna talk to one way or the other, if by hook or by crook. And man, Drew, I'm just so excited to have you here, man. You were on that list by miles. So
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for
well,
being
I'm
here,
glad
man.
we could finally make it happen.
Yeah, me too, man. And geez, man, where do I start, man? Let's start with our icebreaker, I guess. What are your favorite drinks right now?
My favorite, pretty much the standard beverage for me is the ranch water.
Okay.
So Topo Chico, of course, being one half of the Topo Chico Cowboys. That is
Yep.
where my allegiance lies.
I was like, he
Topo
has to
Chico-
answer it correctly here, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Topo Chico, Blanco tequila, and a little squeeze of lime in there, and that's the perfect summer drink for me.
There you go.
We are in South Central Texas, and summer is upon us, so that's the
Yeah,
beverage.
it's coming quick too, man. It feels like I was just shivering, and then I wake up today and see that like heat index is coming back, like the dreaded Texas words heat index, and
No doubt.
yeah, we're like what 3 or 4 days from that hitting us, where it feels like it's 180 degrees or
Yes,
whatever.
that's always great. It's like it will be 96, but it will feel like 112.
Right.
That doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, and like I'm from Massachusetts, so like a heat wave up there is defined by 3 days or more of 90 degrees or higher. And I was like, oh, so you mean February to October in Texas?
Yeah, as a fellow East Coaster, I feel your pain.
Yeah. You're originally from Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So we both got here as quick as we could.
We did.
Yeah.
Where are you right now?
I am in Mineola.
Okay.
Actually,
right
I'm
on.
in Golden, which is Casey Musgrave's hometown.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Phillies game playing on the TV.
So yeah, I've got the Red Sox game playing as well. They just finally
Attaboy.
called up Roman Anthony today, so
That's perfect.
I'm giving up Roman Anthony's call up for you, Drew. I hope you know that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll make this as quick as possible so you can tune in.
Nah, we're not going to do that at all. This has been a long time coming. So yeah, Philly. So like, what was that like? Were you in the city or was it a suburb or what?
I was born in the city. My mom grew up in the city. My dad grew up just outside of the city in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we were suburbs, Haddonfield, New Jersey, until I was 13, and then we moved into South Central Pennsylvania, and settled in this town called Hanover, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
famous for Utz potato chips
Yep.
and Snyder's or Hanover pretzels. And so I moved. We got there the day after I turned 13, and but Philadelphia, all my family is there. My aunt still lives there. My grandparents, lived there until they passed away on both sides, and so I have a long, deep connection to the city of Philadelphia. My grandfather on my mom's side was a bus driver for SEPTA, which is the Philadelphia, transportation organization there forever. He was also the team bus driver for the Phillies, the Oakland Athletic, or the Philadelphia Athletics before they moved to Kansas City and Oakland. And so, like, when I showed up, it was like, you're a Philadelphia guy. You root for the Phillies. You root for the Eagles. You root for my mom went into labor with me at a Flyers game.
Let's go.
So I was pretty much indoctrinated into the entire deal.
Yeah, and sports was a part of your upbringing as well, and I definitely want to chat about that because you and I are both uber baseball fans, and I see that from your bio and stuff. I have Red Sox tattoos, so I mean this is deep for me too, and Phillies fans are the same way, man. Yeah,
I got this tattoo
See?
the day after the Phillies won the World Series in 2008.
It's so funny because my first Red Sox tattoo was the day after they won in 2004.
Yeah,
and it was
when I went to my guy in Austin, he was doing the tattoo, and he was like, "You sure are bleeding a lot." And I was like, "I drank 3 bottles of champagne last night in about an hour."
Yeah,
so that's on me.
Yeah, I said I was going to get a tattoo every time they'd win a World Series, but they kept freaking winning World Series.
See, you didn't expect that would happen.
No.
You labored in obscurity forever, and you're like, if they win a World Series, I'm getting a tattoo. And then they rattle off a whole string of them, and you're like, all right.
And Philly was the same way, man. You guys, we both were miserable, man.
Yes.
Us both in Chicago, right? Like
that is,
and I guess Cleveland too.
Like when you're used to losing, it's a tough thing to square once you start winning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah, exactly right. My grandmother, who kind of introduced me to baseball, she was born, I'm not making this up, I swear. She was born December of 1918.
Wow.
And she died October 2000.
Wow.
So she was born 3 months after they won and died 4 years before they won.
Never got to see it rectified.
Yep.
Brutal.
So, yeah,
but
crazy.
That's why sports is incredible.
Yep. So the day after they won, thankfully she passed the night that I think Pedro struck out 11 Yankees in a playoff game in 2000, the only playoff game we won that year. So
yeah,
I remember watching the game. But guys, we were talking about baseball, man. We got one of the best songwriters in Texas on the show today, but I knew baseball was going to be a part of this.
We keep talking about baseball if you want. That's
and you went to college and had baseball as part of that too, right? The University of Virginia.
No, I went to in Virginia. I went to a school called Hampden-Sydney College.
Okay.
And I was a pitcher for 4 years there, and absolutely loved everything about it.
So I gotta know, man, like, because I know sports and music, right, are so similar in passionate people, right? Like, the passion is the same for both, I feel. So, what was your introduction to music?
My introduction to music was just something that would be a distraction from athletics and academics. Like, I saw how women reacted in college to a guy that could play a Tom Petty song.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I've been, getting in the weight room every day at 5 a.m. and I've been working out and I've been studying my tail off. It would be pretty cool if I could play Free Falling and have a girl like pay attention to me because of that. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what if I got a cheap guitar and learned a couple songs? And so I did. And after learning a couple songs, which taught me basically like the basic chords, my brain just said, well, why don't you come up with something unique? Why don't you write a song? And so I did. And the first time I wrote a song, when I finished it, it was a feeling that I hadn't experienced at that point in my life. And when I finished that first song, I thought, maybe tomorrow I'm going to wake up and write another song. And I did. And I probably wrote a song every day for the next 2 years of me being in college.
So there was like
And
no mentorship here. There's nobody above
none.
you trying to help
There,
you, or just
there was no
completely
one
off the
to
cuff and
ask.
organic.
Yeah, there was no one to ask. I was a jock. There was no one to ask. There was like the guy that lived next door to me, you know, wasn't a musician. There was no one to ask. And I think over the course of my career so far, being on my own has been a strength. I think
Yeah.
if I like when I graduated from college, I decided I was going to move to Texas and be a songwriter and figure out how to play shows and figure out, you know, if Guy Clark and Rodney Crowell and Townes Van Zandt and Walt Wilkins and Susan Gibson and Lyle Lovett and Robert O'Keefe were all from Texas. I loved all of their music. Surely there's something going on, and I should go figure out why they are all.
So how were you
know,
introduced to that? Like all of those amazing songwriters you just talked about. I mean, I
I
don't imagine that permeated into your sphere in Philly or Virginia or anything like that. I know it
Not a
wouldn't for
whole
me in
lot.
Massachusetts. So
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't pervasive where I was growing up or where I went to college. But the first song I wrote, I played it for anybody that would listen, anybody that was on my hallway in college.
yeah,
And I played this song, and one of the guys on my hallway said, "I didn't know that you were a country music guy." And I said, "Well, I don't think I'm a country music guy." And he said, "Well, that's country music." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, like, who do you like?" And he said, "I love Robert O'Keefe. I love Guy Clark."
wow,
And I said, "I'd never heard of them." And he
golly,
goes,
we
"Hold on,
lucked out, man.
yeah, I'll be." He said, "I'll be right back." And he went to his dorm room and he came back with a Robert O'Keefe and a Guy Clark CD and gave it to me. And I listened to them back to back, and I thought, how are these guys not the most famous human beings in America?
Right?
I don't understand how this is like not the mainstream. This is so good. And so from that point going forward, I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to be country music, if what I do is country, I should probably know where country came from. And so I went immediately back and I started listening to like Jimmy Rogers and the Carter Family and started working my way forward to now, because
Ah,
you don't want to like show up and be like, yeah, I love old school country like Alan Jackson. And you're
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
that's not exactly old
man,
school.
we're a lot alike, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I wanted to know. I've
yeah,
always been curious. I've always been um, a history guy. I
yeah.
have a history major. And so I thought, well, if this guy who knows this music thinks that what I just wrote is country, I should learn what country music is and where it came from. And so that's what I did. And the more I immersed myself in the lineage of country music, the more and more I was fascinated by it, because it's truly this co-opted American art form
Hmm.
that is like jazz, like rap, truly American. It has its foundations in the melting pot that is America, and I just wanted to know. I just wanted to be educated about it, and that's what I did.
And I love that you're introduced to the Texas vibe and you're learning about something new. You're obviously passionate about this right away. And your
Yeah.
first instinct is to just jump into it and learn as much about it as you can. And as you
Yes.
do that, you're learning the history behind that sound. But
Yeah.
that history doesn't begin necessarily in Texas.
No.
Obviously, the home of country music, right, is Nashville. But
Yeah.
that Texas vibe was so strong on you that even after learning all of the history and stuff like that, you were really drawn to Texas versus being
Yeah.
drawn to Nashville. Was
Yeah.
Nashville ever an option?
Yes, and it's an option twice a month for me now. I've had a
Right.
publishing deal in Nashville for 10 years.
Yeah, I know
And
now, but
I
like
tried,
right at
but
the beginning.
my thought process was I can go to Nashville and learn how to write songs, or I could go to Texas and learn how to write songs and play shows. Like in Texas, the great thing about being in Texas, as you know, is if you want to play every night of the week, you could find a gig every night of the week.
Absolutely.
It might not pay the bills, but if you want to play somewhere, they will have you. I think the tradition goes back to the cowboy culture of picture a group of 5 or 6 guys going out on a big ranch, mending fences or tending to the herd. And at the end of the night, you're going to sleep around a campfire. And if one guy knows a poem, or if one guy can sing a song or play the harmonica or whatever, that's your entertainment for the night. And you know that that guy worked just as hard as you did all day long, right? And so there's this culture that exists in Texas that allows for creative people to exist in the same space because their work ethic has already been verified. And, you know, there's not a lot of places in America where you can be a poet or be a songwriter and be accepted by everyone, because the work ethic isn't vetted by most cultures. But in Texas, if you're the guy playing the harmonica or reciting a poem around the campfire, you're the entertainment and you're in. You work just as hard as we did, you're in.
And all eyes
And
are on
that-
you too, right?
Yeah, but that culture has existed through today. The roots of it were planted 150 years ago, but now, you know, I remember the first time I played in Texas. I didn't even live in Texas yet, and we sound checked. I had a college band, and we played in Lubbock, and we sound checked with an original. And this guy came up after our sound check and said, "You write that song?" I said, "I did." And he said, "Are you going to play mostly stuff that you wrote or a bunch of covers?" And I was like, "It's kind of half and half." Because in Virginia, that's kind of what you had to do. Like, you had to play songs that people knew, and then you could pepper in originals, and that's how you kept everybody's attention. But in Texas, everybody wanted to hear what you had to say from the start. And if they didn't like it, they would go about their business and, you know, do whatever. But they wanted to know what you had to say. And I thought any place that wants to hear an original song before they would want to hear a cover sounds like a good place for me to go figure out what all of this is.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
I love that, man. So again, we're talking about the passion and it being similar between sports and music. So that music permeates you. You're still in college at that time. So
Yeah.
was there ever a tug of war between the music and the baseball?
No, I was a right-handed pitcher that could throw in the upper 80s, maybe occasionally.
So it was a
low
talent
90s.
level thing.
Yeah. Like, if I were left-handed, probably never would have written a song ever.
Okay.
But I was a right-handed guy. You've got 800,000 baseball players that are graduating their senior year of college that are right-handed that can throw 89 miles an hour. Like, you know, and it was a number. If baseball would have called and said, "Hey, we see some talent here, we'd like to sign you," I would have said, "Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to happen.
So was the baseball the first dream though, as a kid? Would you say?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
I don't know. I appreciate that. We have that in common.
Yeah.
But I don't know any songwriter that grew up wanting to be a songwriter unless their parents worked in the business already.
Yeah.
Like it was always like I don't know why I can do this, and I don't know why it really like ignites my spirit, but it does, and I can do it, and I want to keep doing it. It like songwriting finds human beings and claims them. Like, all right, you're curious, you're thoughtful, you seem to have a little bit of musical talent. You're ours now. That's all you're going to do. Songwriting finds you. There's not a whole lot of people that were 7 years old and were like, yeah, I'm going to be a songwriter when I grow up.
Sometimes I can see a performance and want to do that, right? Like the performing, but like you're not openly looking to create a song. You just want to maybe perform one, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the dream sometimes. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, when you're a kid, you want to be an astronaut or a baseball player, or John Wayne or whatever. The nuanced career that is a songwriter doesn't usually pop into the brain of somebody under 10 years old.
Sure doesn't.
And so it finds you, and it found me, and I'm so thankful every day. I'm so thankful that it found me. And every time, like, you know, we were talking about Nashville a second ago. Even if I'm writing songs for the Nashville bigwigs. At the end of the day, as long as the lyric sheet is something that I am proud of, however they want to produce it after that, that's out of my hands.
And that's
But
the hard part, right? Like making your, like being proud of it, even in the cubicle style writing of Nashville.
yeah,
That's gonna be
although
tough,
I will say, in 10 years, I have yet to find a cubicle in Nashville.
right?
Yeah,
I've never,
there's
I never actually have seen a conveyor belt either, but they call it that
no,
also.
no, and I've never written a better or worse song because of the wallpaper on a wall. Like the space doesn't matter; it's the
Yeah.
people that you're writing with.
Well,
that
they say
matter.
the song rules the room, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yep. So it doesn't matter.
That's-
It's like going to church. Church doesn't have to be the church. It's wherever you are, right?
That's exactly right.
Yep. Man, I love talking to songwriters because for everybody it's different, and I love that songwriting found you. I love the interesting, just the phraseology that you're using there. Songwriting found me. I haven't heard it
Yeah.
put that way before, but it makes sense. And like talking about the songwriting or the process for the craft, it's such a simple question but so complicated to answer it. What's your process like? Is it conduit based, like the songs are finding you, or is it melodic at first, lyrical? Like, walk us through it.
It's got to be something interesting first. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of stuff, and if an idea finds me, or if a great sentence is read in a book that I think is inspiring, I will write it down. And it doesn't mean that this is a great sentence in a book.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that that sentence is going to appear in a song. It just means there's something about this sentence that caught my ear or eye or brain or whatever, and it's worth recording, so then I can go back and think about why I thought that idea was interesting. And so for me, almost all the time, there's a general concept that is interesting to me, why? And the why is what becomes the song. Whatever is interesting to me as I start to unpack it personally, that's usually what turns into the song that you might hear on a record or whatever.
So it's the answer to a question.
Yeah, basically, why is this interesting to me? Through my process, this is why I've decided it's
Yeah.
interesting to me. Today, like I could think the next day, I didn't land this song, I didn't do a good job, it doesn't feel like it's right. And then you try again tomorrow. But I always know when something piques my interest in the songwriter sense of things, that it's worth exploring. And if you don't get it right the first time, it's worth exploring again and again until you do get it right.
So is it basically like you hear, see or whatever, a line, a hook, or it could even be a word? Are you seeing? Is it a title and then you're creating a story around that, or is it different every time?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
different every time. Sometimes it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a situation. Sometimes it's overhearing someone talk in a bar
Yeah.
and thinking like, oh, well, what they said wasn't verbatim interesting, but the topic that they're talking about is interesting. And so maybe I can explore what that means and find a song in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a
one of
lot
the-
of digging.
Go ahead.
It's
Sorry.
a lot of digging. It's a lot. No, you're good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like why did this pique my interest? And it's a lot of work to find out why until you finally get it right.
Yeah, and man, I'll tell you, one of the things I love about your music, your just everything about your writing is, it's almost, I look at your education, I'm like, he had to be an English major. 'Cause,
English
like,
minor.
Okay.
History major,
well,
English minor.
there you go. Well, that kind of
Yeah.
makes sense because, like, there's the alliteration, there's the
Yeah.
double entendre, the double meanings, the way things like the perfect example to me of what I'm talking about is the Julie Roberts song "Breakdown Here," which can
Yeah.
obviously mean your car has broken down in the middle of nowhere, but you're also breaking down because you're going through a breakup. Those are the kinds of things that I love about your writing because it's peppered throughout your career, and I just love that. Where did you learn that kind of stuff? Because it just comes naturally.
I mean, I don't. when I hear a song that piques my interest, I will listen to it on repeat to try and figure out why I found it interesting. Sometimes it's like the bridge melody is completely unexpected. Sometimes it's the economy of the language. Sometimes it's melody or accompaniment or whatever. But whenever something catches my ear, I want to know why. And more often than not, you don't arrive at that answer on the first or second or third listen. It's like for me, I have to approach it as a student of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever piques my interest in the moment, um, I have to pay attention to, and I have to learn from it. And if I can apply any of that to my writing going forward, all the better. But if something catches my ear, I need to know why. I need to figure out why this particular song and the way it was presented interested me. And a lot of times you can when you unpack it, you can take those lessons that you learned with you and go forward and say, oh yeah, I like this song because of this thing. So maybe the next song that I write it in a way where it does that thing, but in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
And I can find out if it's authentic to me or not.
Yeah.
And so it's always studying. It's always learning.
Man.
My favorite thing about co-writing is that, like, more often than not, as you're writing a song, you can find yourself writing yourself into a corner, right? Songwriting is problem solving on the highest level. It's like the highest level word puzzle you could ever get involved in. And when you co-write with someone and you find that the story has kind of pigeonholed you somewhere, but it can't be where the song ends or else the song isn't going to exist. And your co-writer says, well, what if we actually look at it from the opposite direction and it gets you out of the jam? Well, the write might end and the song might be finished, but the next time I'm writing a song where I find myself pigeonholed in that specific way, I think of my co-writer and say, well, she would say, let's look at it from the opposite direction,
Golly,
and then you
that's
can get
amazing.
out of it. And so, like, I carry all of my co-writers with me. And for years, I just wrote songs by myself, but I don't feel like I ever really got good as a songwriter until I started writing with other songwriters.
I love
and
that.
I could see their process and take it with me wherever I went.
So basically, you talked about being introduced to Texas music, and then just jumping down into that rabbit hole. Then
Yeah.
I'm assuming then, and that's a bad word, I know, but I'm assuming based on what I'm seeing in front of me and how you're describing your process, that as soon as you decided to be a songwriter, you probably did the same thing. Jumped down the songwriting rabbit hole, learned as much as you could.
Yes.
Almost like YouTube University, even though that's
Yes.
probably not a thing at the time.
Yeah.
So you're just jumping into structure and the order of things and just learning it yourself, right?
It's an academic pursuit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am envious of the people who just have this natural ability to write brilliant songs,
Mm-hmm.
seemingly out of the womb. But I am not like that. I wasn't like that as an athlete. I wasn't like that as a student, and I'm not like that as a songwriter. Like I am constantly looking to learn something new at any moment. If somebody approaches a song in a way that I never would have conceived of approaching it, I want to know everything about that person and why they came up with that approach, what informed their decision, and see if it applies to how I look at the world and how I
Incredible.
do things. Like that's important to me.
Yeah. So to me, that's just an extreme lack of ego, man. That's just amazing.
I don't know.
I think so. Like, I mean, it's opening. It's being always spongeful, right? Like
Yeah, I think
being
you're right.
being willing to learn all the time, never
Yes.
resting on your laurels.
But it comes from not even understanding why you're a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why songwriting picked me. I don't know. Like, like we were just saying, I wanted to play baseball or be an astronaut or something. I don't know why songwriting picked me. When I was in college, like, law school seemed like it was the path. And then this other thing popped up and was waving its hands in front of me, being like, hey, instead of that, you should think about this. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I just always look at every day as a songwriter is a chance to learn and apply those lessons that you might be able to learn to your craft going forward. It's a never-ending process that hopefully, if it all goes well, you're getting better every time you sit down and write a song.
I love that. So, as a music fan and later a songwriter, as you're kind of traveling through different genres, different styles, are you kind of picking apart the nuts and bolts of these different genres and what makes them unique as well? Because I've noticed over the time of your career, your catalog, the evolution between styles, between genres is so apparent. So I imagine you're picking up these influences along the way as well, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's going back to influences that existed before I was even writing the songs.
Yeah.
You know, um, it. I think if you do the same thing every time, it has to get boring. And if I wanted to do something boring, I would do something that made a lot more money.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do something boring. And so, even though I wear cowboy boots when I'm on stage, it doesn't mean that I'm always country all the time. I have influences that existed before I discovered I could write a song or whatever. I just want it to be interesting. I want it to be something that's interesting to me, and I want it to be something that I can be passionate about. And if it doesn't do either one of those things, if the idea or the sound or the proposal of making a record that is going to be one specific thing doesn't seem interesting to me, I don't want to do it. Like, I partnered with my publishing company, BMG, to make this new record. And they were like, well, you got to do like TikTok and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't interest me at all. Can I come up with a proposal that might interest you that is not that? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, what do you got? And I said, what if I make a podcast that talks about like the kind of the genesis of where these songs come from, but it's not limited to the truth. It can be storytelling. And they're like, yeah, give it a shot. And I was like, great. This is something that I will do that exists outside of the fact that I just made a record that is creatively interesting to me. And if we can use it as a vehicle to point towards the record, then great, I'm in. But I'm not going to do the dumb things that people are doing that is like the low-hanging fruit. And those people do it to great success. And that's awesome, but it doesn't interest me. And so I only want to do things on the creative side of it all that interest me. Because our time here on Earth is so short.
And that's the beautiful thing about being indie, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, that's exactly
you drive
right.
the bus.
Yes, you can control your own destiny.
Right.
And if somebody says, well, man, you would have been more successful if you would have done this, and I'd say, yeah, probably. But
yeah, but success is subjective, right? That's
I didn't want to do that, so I didn't do it.
I mean, again, everybody's definition of success is going to differ immensely. So,
Totally.
Like, if your definition of success doesn't include short form content, then what's TikTok going to do for you? Not a whole lot, right?
But our definition of success changes all the time.
Absolutely.
Like, when you start your podcast, if you think like, man, if I get 100 people to download this episode, I'm doing something. And then it happens.
Yeah.
And then immediately your brain is like, all right, but if I get 500 people to download an episode, then I'm doing something. And then it happens, and you're like, okay, but if I get 10,000 people, like like creative people are constantly shifting the goalposts on themselves.
Yeah.
And leaning into that thing is probably what drives us to continue to make art and to continue to push the process, because we're always moving the goalposts. But it is also healthy to think like, man, do you remember when you wrote your first song? And if you thought like, if a girl kissed you, or if one of your buddies gave you a high five and was like, dude, that's a great song, that's all you want. Like, it's so far in the past that you barely even remember it. But it's healthy to remember the fact that at this point, whether you're doing a podcast or writing songs or making records, like, all of us have exceeded the original goal that we set for us 10 times over, but we move the goalposts on ourselves.
Yep.
And like, Yeah, like
It's funny. I used to think in those terms with like the analytical side of things, downloads, views, streams, whatever.
yeah,
And
because it's right in
it
front of
drove
you.
me crazy, man. So like
Yeah,
I had to change the definition of my success, and now it's just, man, when somebody says yes, I'll come on your show. That's success, man, for me. Like
yeah.
Drew Kennedy is here. I'm
Well, when
successful
you
today,
close
man.
your laptop, if you feel like you had a fulfilling conversation,
Yeah, that's it.
success.
That's what it's
Yeah,
all about, man. I had somebody ask me last night, well, how many views do you have? I'm like, man, I have no idea. I don't
yeah,
look at that anymore. I can't look at that anymore because if I do, it's going to drive me crazy, and I don't want to be driven crazy. I'm doing this
that's
because I
right.
love the music, I love the stories, and just chatting with people is super cool. The second part of what I feel makes songwriters extremely, extremely unique and just unbelievable individuals. First, you got the creative side of things, which is just putting the song together, and then there's an extension of that, which I call in the studio. And there's just a massive difference between sitting in a room writing a song and then taking it to the studio and making it into magic, right? So I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to chat with you about your role in the studio. How vocal are you? How hands on are you? And talk a little bit about the impact of Davis Naish as well.
Exceptionally hands-on, exceptionally vocal, but also exceptionally welcoming to other ideas, right? Um, 40 years ago, making a record meant spending a lot of money on tape. Now, in the digital world, making a record is just time. And if somebody has an idea and it might not make sense to you in your brain, but they're passionate about it, say yes. Because maybe they're going to play something that will blow your mind and it will completely change how your song is perceived when the record comes out going forward. But if their crazy idea turns out to be crazy, you just have to hit the delete button.
That's right.
It didn't cost us any extra tape. It didn't, like, all right, cool. I appreciate that you brought that idea to this session, but I don't think it works for the song. Let's move on. Davis Naish is so gifted in ways that I will never be gifted. Music courses through his veins in a way that I could study but never emulate naturally. He is naturally gifted. And the blessing that it is to have someone who is that gifted dedicate so much time in their lives to making your songs that much better when they come out on a record is one of the more selfless acts that I think human beings give to other human beings. Record producers, for all of their, personas or egos or whatever, if you boil it down to their essence, they exist to try and prop other people up.
Yeah, they're
To
servers, man. They're
They are.
servers. Yeah.
I have this talent, and this talent exists to make you better.
Mm-hmm.
And Davis is just an incredibly classic example of someone who has a boatload of talent that he is just looking to give to someone else that seems like they might excite his creativity. And so our relationship as friends has never been better. Our relationship professionally as songwriter and producer has never been better. And at this point, we've worked so much together. If he says, man, I got this crazy idea. In fact, this whole record was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
He said, have you ever made a self-titled record? And I was like, no, that's dumb. He said, you ever put out a record with your face on the cover? And I was like, why? There's so much space for great art. Why would I put my face on the cover? Have you ever put out a record of all songs that you wrote by yourself? No, why would I do that? I get to write with the greatest songwriters in the world. That all of this sounds stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I kind of would like to be the producer that takes a snapshot of the songwriter 25 years in. And you think,
Golly, man.
I can't say no to that.
Yeah.
And somebody that talented wanting to do that for you, I don't know that I'll ever be able to repay him for his kindness, his friendship, or his talent. But he pushes me to be a better songwriter every day. He pushes me to be a better musician. Like there were times making this record where he'd say, "Well, what if you played this?" And I'd say, "Well, I don't think I can play that." Said, well, you should try a couple times because I think you probably can. And so he pushes you into a different space that otherwise, without his belief, you would have said, "Well, no, I can't do that." But if this guy who is this talented and this supportive thinks I can do it, well, then maybe I should step up to the plate and do it. And without Davis Naish, this record does not exist, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for it.
That's why I wanted to chat about him and give him his flowers, because I know this entire project was so different than anything you've done before, and
Yes.
I knew it came from his brain. And man, I've got so much to say about the new record. It's only been out for like 21 days or something like that, even less than that, and so I haven't really obviously been able to listen to it on repeat for 6 months yet, but I plan on it, man. I love it, man. I was cleaning the kitchen. We did a deep clean on the kitchen the other day, and I just had your record on loop all day. And my wife was just like, "You're chatting with this guy next, are you?" And because that's my research, right? I get to listen to music for research. It's pretty badass. And I was like, "I am," and she was like, "This stuff is incredible." And I was like, "Yeah." So we listened to you for like 6 hours.
Please
on-
tell her I said thank you.
I will, on Sunday, and just on repeat. And normally, her and the kids would be like, "Man, can we listen to something different?" And nobody said a word.
Same in my house too.
So I have a lot to say about the record, and just on the 6 hours I listened to it the other day. The first thing I really want to talk about is using people from your real life as characters in your songs, which is obviously a big part of this record, with your wife being in it, your great-grandmother. I guess the question I have here is, was this like a planned-on act of tribute or celebration, or is this just another example of the song, being in the room that day, and that's the song you had to write?
It's kind of somewhere in between both of those.
Okay.
I don't have a career without the generosity and kindness of so many people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the music, with the amount of noise that exists in the music sphere these days, if you don't have a champion, chances are you're not going to succeed. You have to have somebody other than you just telling every single human being they can think of, like, you got to listen to this guy. This guy's doing something important, connecting you with people. Champions are important.
More people pulling the rope on your side, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And while that is great on the business side, what you realize is the same is true in your life. You have people who stand by your side through good times and bad. You have people that will teach you how to be a better human being on a daily basis. And those people are just as worthy of praise as the champions within the music business are. And the good thing about the people that are the champions for you that are not professional music business people is that usually you can find more poetry in their life because you've been raised by them.
Yeah.
You've been married to them. You've grown up with them. And what you observed about this record is entirely true. I mean, there are songs on this record, like a song like Movie Posters is a song about all of the people that I dated before I got to my wife, Holly.
Mm-hmm.
All of the people that didn't work out before I got to my wife, who I've been married to for 20 and a half years. All of those people taught me how to be a better partner.
Mm-hmm.
They showed me what to do, what not to do, and the culmination of that entire experience hopefully made me the best husband I could be by the time I got married. And maybe the conventional wisdom is you don't write a semi-love song for all those people if you're not with them. But my thinking is I wouldn't be with the person that I love with all of my heart and soul had it not be for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they are worthy of a song just as she is worthy of a song. My great grandmother, came from Ireland in 1909 when she was 19 years old, at a time when you could look at the classifieds in the Philadelphia Inquirer that would say, looking for a house cleaner, must have this, must do this, no Irish need apply.
Yep.
Like, she came over from Ireland at a time where the Irish immigrants weren't totally welcomed and still made a life. And I am the benefactor of that life. I've benefited from her bravery. Why wouldn't she deserve a song?
I love that.
You know, like,
That's so
and
cool.
yeah, so like, I totally love a song that was written in the spur of the moment after this thing happened. But I also love a song that looks back over the cumulative history of how you got here, whether it's during your lifetime or beyond, and saying, you know what, that is something that deserves a song, and I'm going to sit down and write it.
Good stuff.
That's why we do it, right?
Yep.
Like, if I just wanted to write stuff that I thought would be important in 6 months, then all I would do would be write pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I want songs that I write to matter in 6 years or 60 years versus 6 months from now.
You know, it's funny too, because the stories that are so personal to yourself are probably the ones that resonate the most with your audience too, I would imagine.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I don't know. It was funny. You know, Rick Rubin put out the book that he just did, and he did a lot of podcast interviews around it. And in one of those interviews, he said, I think the person that you think of last is your audience when you're making great art. And I thought, oh my gosh, that seems crazy. And the more I thought about it, I kind of realized that that's what I've always done.
Yeah.
I have always thought of myself first and doing things that were intellectually stimulating to me or exciting to me on an artistic level. And I've always wondered about who would listen to it or want to hear that song after it was already finished.
Yeah.
I've never written a song where I was like, well, I can't say that. What do you mean you can't say that? You can say whatever you want. If it's interesting to you, maybe it will be interesting to someone else.
I love that. You're leading me right into my next point of your record, man, which
Yes.
is great. That's what podcasting is so good for, man. Like, I have an outline here, and you're just clicking them off, checking them off for me.
We're
The
a team, baby.
The next question I have is, again, when it comes to the record, is just the freedom, right? So the subject matter beyond the tributes and, you know, again, asking the question why, which makes a lot of sense to me now, thinking about the songs that I've been listening to. But we're talking about subject matter like immigration, like panic attacks, like things like that. And the prototypical artist doesn't normally have the freedom to talk about things like that. And
That's
so
right.
the record's called Drew Kennedy. And so you have the freedom to say whatever you want. So why do you
Right.
choose this subject matter?
Well, I don't think I'm the only person that's asked those questions or felt those things or
Yeah.
thought about, you know, how you even got here. And if there's a chance that there are other people out there that have thought about or felt those things too, I mean, why choose any other path than honesty? This is what I know. This is what I experienced. This is how I got here. I can't be all alone. This is a story that's unique to me, but I think there are enough things that other people can relate to, that maybe they can put themselves into that story and get something out of it. Music is connection. And I might not be trying to cast the widest net when I make a record to try and, you know, as a great pop record will do, cast the widest net possible in the hope that you get the biggest audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like casting a narrow net and just saying, hey, if you felt this, I felt it too.
I mean, it's
And
better
this
to
is
find
what
an
I wrote.
audience that's going to listen anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ears over dollars every day of the week.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know?
Man, I wanted to talk about the word joy. And
Mhm.
you have a song called She's Looking Into Mine.
Yeah.
And finding joy is a predominant theme in that song. And so the question I wanted to ask you here is like the bard life, man. You've been living this bard troubadour life for 25 years, singing your songs wherever they'll let you, and it's not always easy. And I know you know that, man. It's one of the hardest gigs there is on the earth. And you keep saying the songwriting chose you. My question here is, how do you continue to find joy in the bard life?
It finds you. As long as you're open to living your life, as long as you are not placing unrealistic expectations on the life that you are living, joy will find you. Inspiration will find you. Friendship will find you. Love will find you. If you are open to it, it will find you. And I might not make the most money in the world, but I would guarantee you that I have a group of friends and a well of joy that will rival the richest man in the world. If you are open to those things seeking you out, Rumi said, what you seek is seeking you. If I am seeking joy, that means joy is seeking me. And if you just open yourself up to the idea of whatever channel needs to be clear to make that thing come to me as I am looking for it, it will come to you. And that has been the governing theory of my life of the last 10 years. I am interested in curious people. I am interested in love and joy. I am interested in intellectual stimulation. And if those things are looking for me, then I want to be open to those things coming so that we can meet in the middle. And man, is there anything better than joy?
There's not.
Opening your life
Kindness,
to the possibility
right? All
that
that goes
joy
with it.
could find you. Like that's the secret of life.
Right.
Like that a cup of coffee at a sunset could be so memorable that you would think about it 30 years later. That holding someone's hand in a moment that you might think about it every day for the next 6 months when you wake up. If you're open to those things, they will come to you.
The green
If
grass
you're
of your
always-
first Major League Baseball game.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
if you're always thinking like, well, I'm never going to fall in love. Inspiration will never find me. I'm never going to be happy. Then you probably won't.
Yep.
But if you think, I'm not happy right now, what do I need to open myself up to allow happiness to find me? I guarantee you it will find you. Same with inspiration, same with songs, same with relationships. If they're not there now, what part of you do you need to open up to make sure that those things will be able to find you? They will find you. And my accountant might not like it, but I freaking I've been more happy in the last 10 years of my life than I've been, I think, cumulatively leading up to it, because I've been more open to things that might bring me joy or bring me inspiration. And that's the deal. If you're going to be a songwriter, if you're going to be an artist, it's not all you, man. It's never all you. It's a collaboration with you.
It can't be.
It can't be.
Yeah.
And so as long as you stay nakedly open to the possibility that joy could find you, it will find you. And I think too many of us are closed off to that fact. And it just takes the simple act of being like, all right, universe, whatever you got for me today, good or bad, let's have it.
Mm-hmm.
And then help me figure it out tomorrow. But I'm not in this alone. What can I do? What can I do to be a better citizen of the planet? What can I do to make my life more fulfilling? Because I'm in. And usually the answer is just pay attention, just listen, just experience, just exist, and you will find it. And it will find you. And that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. It's just great wisdom, man. I love it. I was like, man, I'm going to ask this question. I know he's going to really get a kick out of it, because it's just something that's so hard to maintain through stress and worries and all those negative things. That's the opposite of the things that you were just talking about, man. You know, and I just love the answers. Man, again, you have such a incredibly interesting life. 25 years, 11 albums, a novel. You've founded multiple songwriters festivals. The novel is called Fresh Water in the Salton Sea, which
Yeah.
also had a song with it as well.
Yeah.
You got the podcast now, which, by the way, as a podcaster, I love the idea for that.
Thank you.
Radney Foster had a very similar idea with one of his records, which was basically a song and a short story. It's not a podcast. I don't know if you know the record I'm talking about.
Yes,
but I think it's called For the Love of the Stars.
Yes.
I'm just kind of off the cuff here. I didn't look that up, but hopefully I'm right about the title of that. But yeah, I think it's incredibly important to come up with very genuine and unique ideas in this business nowadays. So you can't be termed a copycat or you did this because of that or whatever. And I love the fact that you're creating your own path rather than taking somebody else's idea for one, man.
You have two choices. If you want to succeed in the music business, you can do the thing that leads to widespread commercial acclaim, and only a couple people get to experience that. It is, as a songwriter in Nashville, in the last 10 years, I've written with just about every brand new signee to every major record label that they have. And you either approach that as thinking, all right, they're going to make me a star, or you approach it as, okay, I've got this opportunity and I'm going to work my tail off to make sure I take advantage of it and I'll be a star. And most of the people that take that second approach are usually the people that end up succeeding. Mm-hmm. But if you also look at the path of, all right, I can do the things that they all say I should do if I want this particular brand of success to come my way, or I can go this way and figure it out on my own. It's going to take more work. It's going to take, all the hustle I have. These are my options. To me, choosing the path of all the hustle I have just seemed more interesting. I signed a record deal when I was 27, and we made a terrible record, although with great people. My producer, Gerald Boyd, was incredible. My songs were terrible. I didn't know how to sing yet. Everything else around me was great. I just didn't know what I was doing yet. If that record would have worked and propelled me to some level of stardom, and somebody would have asked, hey, man, how'd you get here? I would have said, I signed a record deal, and I don't really know after that. It just kind of worked. I would have been happy with the success, but I wouldn't have known how it would have happened. And the alternate choice is, okay, I did those things, it didn't work out. What can I learn from my failures? If I'm choosing this path that is not the traditional path, at least if I get some measure of success, I will know how I've gotten there. And that, to me, I don't want it to be a mystery. I don't want to be somebody that was like, I don't know.
Then you know how to do it again, too, right? I mean, then you know how to do it again.
Yes, he met the right guy, and they made him successful. Versus, he never met a guy, but he made himself successful. That's the path that I want.
Yeah, I love that. So we're at an hour. Can I get about 10 more minutes?
Come on, let's do it.
All right, so these segments, this is kind of what I call having fun. These are kind of like short little TikToks and reels that I do for before the episode comes out. And most artists, actually all the artists I've ever done this with, love the hell out of it. So I think you'll enjoy it. The first one is called Hobbies. What things do you enjoy outside of music?
I love reading. I love traveling, which usually goes hand in hand with music. I love baseball.
Yeah.
Love baseball. The Phillies are tied 1. Nope, the Phillies are up 2-1 on the Cubs right now.
Red Sox Rays are 0-0 right now.
There you go. See, we're both looking at it.
Yeah.
I love being at home with my family. It's funny, my family, they're always like, you're always going to do all this awesome stuff, and it's so interesting and so neat. And what I can never make them understand is I would so much rather just be here at home, cooking dinner for you and not going anywhere. So I love reading. I love the arts. and I love being at home.
Awesome.
I'm a terrible fly fisherman. I wish I was better, and if I was better, I would do that more often. But that would be a real hobby.
Yeah. All right, next one's called Did You Know? Is there something out there your fans may not know about you?
I am a clinical oversharer. So I don't know that there's a whole lot out there that isn't a secret. Sometimes, during COVID, as a songwriter, I wrote a lot of songs with people on Zoom all over the world. And whenever I have met those people in person, they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're so tall."
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'4".
Me too.
Crazy.
And
people that don't know that are usually surprised, like when they meet me, like, "You're so much bigger than I thought." So maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, next one's called Mount Rushmore. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of songwriters?
Guy Clark is the first face that goes on there. After that, we have a lengthy debate. Walt Wilkins has to be on there.
Love it.
I just spent a weekend in the van with him, and he's forever my true north. Susan Gibson probably has to be on there. And then I'm gonna say maybe Bob McDill.
Ooh.
Just like one of those classic Nashville songwriters who just delivered every time they were asked to deliver in support of someone else's art, right? Like Bob McDill's not putting out records.
No.
I mean, I think he put out one record, but after that, he's a songwriter. Any writer that labors throughout their entire career in support of another artist's art is important to me because I do it often. So I'll say Walt, Susan, Bob McDill,
and Guy Clark. Guy Clark.
Guy Clark. Of course, Guy Clark's first.
I love Susan being on there. I just need to challenge everybody out there. Most people probably know Susan because of one song. I implore you, delve deeper.
One song, Wildflower in the Weeds.
That's
Listen
right.
to Wildflower
Evergreen.
in the Weeds and
Evergreen's
tell me,
amazing too.
Evergreen's amazing too. Listen to either one of those songs and tell me she's not the best songwriter going these days.
Yeah, she's ridiculous, man. And
She's
just
ridiculous.
such a kind human being as well.
Yes.
Next one's called What the Heck? This is just 5 rapid fire questions. Just give me
Great.
the first thing that pops into your brain.
Okay.
So no studying, okay.
I'm in. Rapid
Right.
fire.
If Geronimo jumps out of a plane, what does he say?
Geronimo.
Okay, good answer. I'd probably point at myself and say, me. Number 2, where do you think squirrels go during hurricanes?
They turn into fish and live in the streams.
That's freaking brilliant. Number 3,
Yeah.
What has been your favorite age so far?
38.
Nice. All right, number
My
4.
hair hadn't turned gray yet.
Oh, this is a very analytical question. What happens if you get scared half to death twice?
You have had 2 near-death experiences.
Yeah, you can never die as long as it doesn't happen quickly.
That's right.
Because you always have something left.
consecutively.
Yeah, right.
They can't be
Like
consecutive.
if I get scared half to death, I have to say, everybody stop. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. That's exactly right.
All right, number 5. Have you ever tripped on stage, and if so, how did you play it off as cool?
Yes, there's no such thing as cool. You admit to the mistake immediately. Same thing if you forget a chord or whatever. You just cop to it, and that makes you a regular human being.
There you go. What the heck with Drew Kennedy? All right, next one is called One Artist.
Okay.
This is going to be tough for you because you know a lot of people,
Okay.
and you're a music fan like I am. Who is one artist you wish the entire world knew about?
Brett Cherokee.
Okay.
He's a songwriter in Nashville. He put out a record. He's a brilliant writer. I just saw him pop up on my calendar for next month. He's fantastic. More
Okay.
people should listen to Brett Cherokee.
Next one's called Advice. What is the best advice you can give to a young songwriter?
listen to no one and listen to all the records you possibly can.
I love it. All right. Biggest lesson you've ever learned directly from music?
Be kind.
Really, music taught you that?
Mm-hmm. All of the assholes I've ever worked with run out of people to work with on a pretty remarkably quick basis. Be kind. Even if you don't get the song, even if the collaboration wasn't great, even if you didn't like the billing on stage, be kind. You have managers, you have booking agents, you have publishers that can all be the asshole behind the scenes. But if it is just you and you are faced with a situation, be kind. Always choose to be kind.
I love it. And kindness is effortless, man. I have that on all my social media.
Easiest thing to do in the world.
Requires no effort whatsoever.
No effort.
Exactly.
So much easier to smile than frown, baby.
Yep. All right, next one's called Moment of Gravity. I always struggle to ask this question, but it's always the best, the coolest answers of all time. And I have a feeling I know what yours is already based on the interview.
All right.
So the moment of gravity is basically that one moment in time that you can kind of draw your entire life back to that one moment. My entire life started at this moment. Do you know what that was?
Yeah. As far as the songwriter goes, hearing the Raven and the Coyote on Robert Earl Keen's Gringo Honeymoon record. As soon as I heard that song, it was over.
Nice. And that's how the songwriting found you.
That's it. As soon as I heard that, I knew I could do it. Not do it as well, but I knew I could do it. And I knew that it didn't even matter that I didn't know how to play the guitar or write a song. I knew that it was in me. It struck a chord. It rang the bell inside. I just knew it.
Nice. All right, next one's called Grateful. What are the 3 things that you are most grateful for?
I am most grateful for my family, my wife and my 2 boys. Being a father and being a husband are 2 of the greatest honors that I have ever had in my entire life. I am grateful for music, that it exists, that I am in a place where I am free to express myself through my art on a regular basis. And I am grateful for all of the other people who struggle and succeed and fail and labor through the same exact things that I am on a regular basis. You get a couple winners every day, you get a couple losers every day, and they all come from the same pool, but I am grateful for artists.
Nice. All right, last segment, and this is called Who Do You Think You Are? Who is Drew Kennedy?
Man, I hope just a good guy. I hope just curious and kind and somebody who likes to cook even though he doesn't make the best meals in the world. I just hope I'm a good friend and a good guy. That's all I want to be.
Nice. So you got this incredible record, again, self-titled, released on May 18th. What's the rest of 2025 look like for you?
Well, I got to play a show in Nashville this week, and I've got a bunch of other shows to do. Our Marathon Songwriters Festival, our 7th ever, is coming up August 7th to the 9th. This is the promotional side of things.
Yep.
You can find out more about it at marathonsongs.com.
We'll put a link in the description for that.
There you go. The Red River Songwriters Festival, this will be our 14th year, will be happening in January. That's redriversongs.com, but we haven't announced dates or anything like that yet. Man, I'm just happy for the next song that I get to write. I'm happy for the next day I get to wake up, or the next cup of coffee or glass of wine or whatever. I really feel like I won the lottery without receiving the lump sum payment.
It's all about the joy.
I didn't get the ticket, but it happens month to month.
Yep.
I love it, man. I'm so thankful that I get to talk to people like you that are curious and kind. I never would have, if you would have asked me the day before I wrote my first song what my life would have been, it definitely would not have been this. And ever since then, I have been so thankful for the beautiful people that I've met, the wonderful people that I've had the chance to talk to, people I've written songs with. Like, I never would have guessed that this is what my life would have been, and I'm eternally thankful for it.
All right, let's go over everything you guys need to know about Drew Kennedy, how to follow him, and all of that stuff. You guys know this is important. It's a completely free way to support the artist. The website is drewkennedymusic.com. Again, there's going to be links to both of the music festivals in your description. There's going to be a link to his webpage down there, and his social medias, which you can find. You can find information for all of this on the website. If you're interested about the podcast, there's a link for that. There's a link to his store. You can get his novel on the webpage. All of the above is there. The social media, Facebook is drew.kennedy.music, at drew.kennedy.music. Instagram is at Drew Kennedy. I guess he doesn't have a TikTok. I don't know if we figured that out today or not.
It's there, but I don't really put it on there.
Drew, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Thank you so much, Chris. I hope the Red Sox win. Fenway Park is a beautiful place to see baseball. And man, you work so hard. I watched 3 episodes of your podcast on YouTube today as I was gearing up for this conversation. And I just want to say, you work so hard at trying to give people like me a beautiful platform, and you're curating a great audience. And man, I'd talk to you anytime you want. Next time we're in the same place together,
let's do something in person. That would be fun.
Whatever.
Yeah, we could do something in person.
You're a wonderful human being, my friend. Thank you for helping out songwriters.
Same to you, man.
Hey, y'all, this is Max and
Heather
Stalling, and you're tuned in to the Boston Chris Show. Thanks for listening.